This is Stu's podcast, Wrestling Podcast. Have a great time. Appreciated you all. Thank you very much. God bless.
You're listening to Stu's Wrestling Podcast. It's time. Your host, Stu Palmer.
It is the return of former WWE WCW talent Jacques Rougeau, aka the Mountie today, and he is on to promote Lutte Academie, Wrestling Academy 2023. The participants have been announced. It will begin in May, so he's got loads of information about this year's event. $10,000 for the winners and a contract at the Nightmare Factory in Atlanta, GA with QT Marshall. Jacques was in the UK in September. He did a convention. He's got some great stories. He met Tyson Fury. You'll get to hear about that. I've got some photos as well from the convention in the UK, here in the UK. Also, Jacques documents his tough time with illness. He was in the hospital. He had operations. He had a lot going on. But he's still here today, and he's got his great outlook on life off the back of his health problems earlier this year. So here we go. Without further ado, my guest for episode 138 of Stu's Wrestling Podcast is none other than wrestling legend Jacques Rougeau, aka the Mountie from WWE and WCW. Enjoy. Here we go. My guest today, joining Stu's Wrestling Podcast for a second time, a two-time guest. His second appearance this year on the show, it's Mr. Jacques Rougeau, who will also have known as the Mountie in WWE, one half of the fabulous Rougeau brothers, and also part of the Quebecers, one half of the Quebecers as well. How's it going, sir? How are we?
Good morning, Stu. I know it's a little later where you're at. It's like 7 in the morning where I'm at in Orlando, Florida right now. I'm on vacation with my family. And so we're doing really good. How about yourself? How are things over in Wales?
All good here, mate. Bit cold out there. Obviously, you're not in Canada at the moment, but it's cold. It's not Canada cold here. It's got to be said, but it is cold. But we're wimps. We're wimps with the cold here. You have the proper cold. You have the proper cold in Canada.
You know, to be honest with you, Stu, over the last few years, I've become a snowbird, so I'm a little wimpy too about the cold weather.
Now, you're primarily here because you've made match announcements for Lutte Academy 2023, Wrestling Academy 2023 in English. And yes, it's happening in May again. And I can't wait to find out what's happening, the matches you've announced as well, leading into it this coming May in 2023.
You know, Stu, let's just recap a little bit on what happened in the last year. It was an amazing year. The Wrestling Academy project started last year, and it grew so much from the 4 winners winning $5,000 and choosing 40 contestants, 40 participants across Canada from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast. And it was a great adventure all the way to the finals in August, where QT Marshall was on the giant screen from Atlanta, Georgia, and because of COVID restrictions and stuff like that. So we had him on a giant screen live where he saw the show and he picked his 4 finals. And it was amazing because as of we're speaking right now, the 4 winners are still at the Nightmare Factory. They've been there for 2.5 months, and they're finishing their last 2 weeks there. What a gift from QT Marshall and the Nightmare Factory. What an inspiration for all Canadian wrestlers to during the year to hoping to win this contest, to win the $5,000. But much more than that, Stewie, it was to make it to the Nightmare Factory in Atlanta, Georgia, where you have trainers like Billy Gunn, you know, the Smoking Guns. You know, I used to wrestle him with my brother Raymond, him and Bart Gunn, Billy and Bart, and he's a trainer there. And then, of course, you got QT Marshall, which is the owner of the Nightmare Factory, and you have also Cody Rhodes from the WWE that is there as a trainer too. So the 4 winners were training all week long with these 3 great legends, you know, and teachers. So that was the opportunity that we're waiting for. And Jeremy Prophet and Jessica Black, who came from Montreal, they were the winners. She was the winner. Jessica was the female winner. And then Jeremy Prophet was one of the guys that won from Montreal. And then there was Matt Black from Ontario. And then there was Chris Dillon from Newfoundland. the four winners, they're just so grateful. You know, when I went to see them a couple of weeks ago, I passed by at the Nightmare Factory, coming down south from Montreal, going to Florida. I stopped by for a week, and it was just amazing to see the progress and the little things that they've learned with those pros, even like in interviewing and just the basic moves that they got deeper, and then they realized a lot of things in the ring. And I saw them being coached by them, and it was amazing to see how the progress. Plus, guys that could see the big problem here for Canadian wrestlers. Actually, in Canada, is to go work in the United States for working visas. You know, they don't have any working papers. And so by going to the Nightmare Factory, spending 3 months in the States, just as a training camp, well, they made a lot of contacts. They started wrestling in Georgia and Carolinas and Florida. And so they made a lot of, even with Impact Wrestling and different, so they met a lot of people. So what a great contest it was this year.
Amazing. Obviously, I was hotly tipping Jeremy Prophet. He's been around the business for so many years. And also Jessica Black, fantastic. Looking to get them two guys on. Obviously, they've been on AEW television as well, them two. They were in a tag match a couple of months ago now. So, yes, I am looking to get them both on as a tandem on this show as we speak.
It was amazing to see also like you said, you know, there were so much things that happened this year. We're starting with the 4 prizes of $5,000, and the next thing you know was a QT Marshall that was giving us 1 day in Atlanta, Georgia, to spend 1 day at the Nightmare Factory, and then about a couple of months later he changed it to a week, and then a couple of months later he changed it to 3 months. You know, he got really involved in this project, and then you got a guy like Zashman who in Australia who decided that he had a toy store, and so he decided to make 4 wrestling figurines for the winners also. And then later on, QT Marshall says, hey, I'm going to take the 4 winners and plus 2 others, and I'm going to bring them to Toronto for the debut of AEW in Canada, and we're going to put them on the card. So a lot of things happened during that year for them. But you know, Stewie, I got to tell you about this year. I'm so excited about this year for many reasons. One of the first reasons is the winners this year are going to win $10,000. We doubled the prize, and that's just absolutely amazing. And then the QT Marshall, who's giving us again the 3 months at the Nightmare Factory for the winners. But there's more than that. There's how can I say that? QT Marshall was so excited with the project that last year he was there for the finals on the giant screen to pick the winners. But when we finished the contest this year, I talked with QT, and he told me, he says, Jacques, he says, this year I want to be more implicated. He says, I want to be there when you choose the participants. I want to be there at the quarterfinals. I want to be there in the semifinals, and I want to be in the finals. And so it's just amazing, his implication. He really loves the project. We became his little pet project in Canada. And so it's so exciting for this project.
Amazing. Jacques, it starts May the 7th, if I'm correct, the first round of quarterfinals. And who have we got in terms of matchups and some background on the participants as well? That'd be fantastic for my viewers and listeners to hear who's coming in next year.
Oh my God, there's so many. I'm going to send you all to watch, to go on wrestling-academy.ca. You will see all the pictures of the new. We're fixing the website now. We're getting the old ones out of there. We're putting the new ones. My girlfriend's doing a super job and putting this website together. So you have a chance now to go on wrestling-academy.ca and to see the new contestants. And the greatest thing about this also is last year, Stewie, when we started this, there was a lot of people that doubted this project. There was a lot of people that say, oh, yeah, you know, they're supposed to win 5,000. They're supposed to go to the Nightmare Factory. They're supposed to get this and get that. And there was a lot of doubters and a lot of haters in this business. As you know, there's a lot of haters on YouTube and everywhere on the social medias. So they were really hitting this project like negatively. But now that we've proved that everything was there, it just turned around so much. Like last year, we had 40 inscriptions for the participants, 40 videos that came in, and there was 21 or 22 that came from Quebec only, you know, and there's only like 18 videos from Canada, and we had more only in Quebec than the 9 other provinces. But because of the credibility that this project has taken, this year we had 70 videos, and we only had like 10 from Quebec, and we had like 60 from across Canada. And you will see the talent is absolutely amazing. So all the promoters they spoke between each other. All the wrestlers, they passed the word out and they said, hey, this competition is real. This is true. And so now all the greatest talent of Canada have joined this year. The best ladies, the best men from Edmonton, from Calgary, from all over the place. It's amazing. So if you go check the website, wrestling-academy.ca, you will at this point see all the participants. And within a week or two, my girlfriend will have put all the videos also that we receive, so you'll be able to click on the picture and go see the talent. It's absolutely amazing. And another thing too that's very, very fun about all this is like I've already booked a couple of matches, like you said, for one main event for actually they're all main events, but one main event that was confirmed for May 7th was the Giant Orion against Jesse V, who was all the way into the finals last year. And the thing about this project that I like so much now, I had a lot of criticism this year already. It was because I took two of the possibly winners of Wrestling Academy 2023 and I put them together on the quarterfinals. So it's like no, I'm not going to put the greatest wrestler against the not so great wrestler to make sure that at the end it's exciting. I'm putting head to head, everybody nose to nose right off the bat. So they're both gunning for the $10,000 right off the first match they're coming in. It's not going to be an easy pass this year. The competition is going to be awesome. So that's going to be very, very exciting. Even on the ladies match there, if you have a chance to zoom to put that in there, the insert of the matches. It's amazing the match that we put up. The four ladies that could win this contest, and they're 2 against 2. And there's going to be 2 eliminated in the quarterfinals right off the bat in May or in June. So and it's going all the way to September this year. So it's going to be an amazing contest. I'm so excited about it because I'm like a little kid now, seeing all this. Everybody's trying to respect each other. Everybody's being nice to each other. But I know down deep inside, they all want to make it to the semifinals. And they all want to make it. So there's this reality of being friends and respect. But there's also the greedy side of the normal person who's going to say, yeah, I wish you good luck. But really inside is like, I'm going to kick your ass or I'm going to do better than you. It's amazing, this contest.
Absolutely. Also, the venue, you're back at Club Soda. I'd seen visuals from Club Soda. Fantastic place to do it, Jacques. Perfect for what you're trying to do there. And, your announced teams, all the fundamentals that make that show, just amazing to see all the way here in Wales, in the UK, what you've been doing there with it.
Well, thank you. We have a video, Stu. If you want to insert it at this point in time, I'll give you a second to do that. There's a video of the presentation of the talent. There's I'll wait. Let's just wait a couple of seconds and let's see what it looks like.
Let's go to VT. Here we go.
Here are, in no particular order, the competitors in the women's division. Chantal Roy, Relentless Riley Rose, Miley, Kat Van Gogh, Nikita, Amy Crimson, Kat Von Ease, Casey Spinelli, Alicia Luciferia, Zoe Sager. We just got word that QT Marshall has added 2 spots, so there will be 24 participants in the men's division. Here they are, in no particular order. The Lion Warrior, Bobby Sharp, Chad Daniels, Eli Surge, Cody Brown, The King, Brandon Bright, Gabriel Savage, Jefferson James, The Giant Orion, Jesse Bieber, Salsa King, John Gonzalez, Johnny North, Bjork Haken, KL Shock, Carl Jepson, Golden Boy Magnum McLaren, Maverick Wheeler, Mattis Me, Michael Richard Blaze, Sean Moore, Steve Maines, the Maritime Juggernaut, Thad Howitt, Tomer Sidi Shalom, Jesse B, and the Dagger Spot, Kyle Zachary.
There you go, Jacques. Fantastic visuals there. This will give the viewers of my show, the juicy part of it.
It's amazing.
Absolutely.
Isn't it? And we can't, I can't help but to say thank you also to all the sponsors, because, last year, this is something, Stu, that really, I got to mention this because people, think they have presumptions and how it goes. But last year, Wrestling Academy cost me $15,000, $15,000 out of my own pocket to create this event. Because we had 4 sponsors that gave $5,000 to the winners, but we had not thought about the plane tickets or the hotels and all this and the expenses of the show and everything. So it cost us a little bit of money last year, but what a great thing when you're doing your passion. But this year, as of now, we have 8 sponsors of $5,000. We got one of $2,500. So now we got like $42,000 and $500 made up for the sponsorship, and we have like 3 winners this year of $10,000, so that's $30,000, and so we already have like $12,500 for the plane tickets and the hotels, and we're going to find another $7,500. We need 3 more. We're going to have $50,000 of sponsorship this year, at least to make it so we break even. So we don't make money, but at least we're living our passion. And it's not costing money from our own pockets, and everybody's taking advantage of that situation.
Absolutely, good to see it's growing in terms of sponsorship. Obviously, what you did this year going into 2023, fantastic for you guys, isn't it?
Well, it's fun because the four sponsors that were there last year, they jumped back in this year. So that's a good sign. When you have sponsors that they're there one year and they come back the next year. And it's amazing because all the sponsors at the Club Soda in Montreal, they all had their 10 seats reserved for the company, and it's amazing how everybody this year that came to see the show, they were like, at the end of the show, they'd come up to me and they'd say, Jacques, you keep me my 10 seats there next show. You keep me my 10 seats. So it has been a great success so far, and we're very happy.
It's great for people that want to get into the business, I think, as well. Young Canadian kids, if they can see there's a route, you're giving them a route, aren't you? And that's what it's all about. It's about giving back to the next generation as well, isn't it? In terms of wrestling, and pro wrestling has changed so much. It's different the way it's done. So yeah, just how do you feel about the next wave, generation coming into the business?
Well, Stu, there's so much more than just even winning the prizes and the experience. I'm thinking of guys like Zashman, guys like you, Stu, guys like that made podcasts with me around the world, and every time gave exposure to the talent. You guys are actually giving exposure worldwide to all the Canadian talent. So what a platform for them. I know a lot of my talent was called by different promoters that even knew they existed because of Wrestling Academy. So you guys are opening doors for everybody. And that's, I think, the most important thing is being a platform for the Canadian wrestlers to have more exposure and more bookings. And hopefully, like you said, the more you're seen, the better chances you have. It just takes one guy somewhere to look at a talent and say, hey, I want him or I want her. So get in touch with Jacques Rougeau and we'll get in touch with that talent. We need it. So that's the whole game, I guess, is just giving a chance to the female and male wrestlers across Canada to be seen around the world.
Absolutely. Now, viewers and listeners, make sure to go to wrestling-academy.ca. All the information is there, isn't it, Jacques? And just, you can see what's going on, what we're going to lead into May. And the final, if I'm right, I'm going to put the graphic up now. The final will be in September 2023, won't it?
Yeah, it's in September, actually. I don't have the date right now. I have to ask my girlfriend. C'est quelle date? Au mois de septembre, la finale, le 20 ou 27? 27. The 17th. The 17th
Lovely.
Of September
Lovely.
Is the last one. And this year we had one in May, one in June, and we had 2 in August. But it was too hard for us to put the 2 in August. So this year we're putting it one on the 7th of May, one the 4th of June, the 20th of August, and then we're going in September for the finals. they give us time to put all this together, and then so it's going to be totally amazing this year. I can't wait.
Absolutely. Wrestling Academy, Lutte Academy 2023. I cannot wait, Jacques. I cannot wait for May. It'll be here.
You already know that Wrestling Academy will be back in 2023. You already know that 3 wrestlers will each win $10,000 and a 3-month scholarship at Atlanta's Nightmare Factory. Many matches have already been announced. Here's a big one. Tag team action features Nikita.
What's up, Wrestling Academy? I'm super excited to be teaming with my girl, Smiley Miley, and show the whole world why the 2 of us deserve to win $10,000. We'll see you all in June.
And her tag team partner, Miley.
Holy cow, did you see that I'm going to be tagging with Nikita at Jacques Rougeau's Wrestling Academy 2023, and we're going to win $10,000. Let's go!
They're facing Chantal Roy.
Nikita, Miley, welcome to your first and last challenge. Y'all might have the looks, but what's that saying, Spinelli? Pro wrestling is in ballet.
And her partner, Casey Spinelli.
Bellissimo, Chantal. And don't worry, QT Marshall, because with 10 G's, we can buy looks. It's our class that kicks ass. Time to suit up, ladies.
These ladies can really rock in the ring, and they're here to win it all. But who will make it to the semifinals? Every wrestling fan will want Wrestling Academy tickets in their Christmas stocking, so act quickly to purchase them now from Club Soda's ticket office. See you in Montreal on June 4th, 2023 for the second part of Wrestling Academy's quarterfinals. You can't miss this. To my playing ground.
Okay, so another thing that's very exciting too, Stewie, very, very exciting is for I have a on Facebook. I am public, so anybody who wants to go see Jacques Rougeau's Facebook, I think it's worthwhile you go see, because I'm putting so much stuff for Wrestling Academy on my Facebook and on my Comic Cons and everything I do around the world. So it's like follow me on Facebook. You'll see the picture of me and my girlfriend. And go on there and you'll see videos and you'll see all kinds of things about Wrestling Academy.
And you'll also see videos of your trip to Florida when I'm freezing here and you're going around the pool on your inflatable. Yeah, absolutely rubbing it in because you're getting some sun in December.
And you also may see some videos of the Masked Singer.
That was gonna be my next point, right? There was a lobster on the show. Now we get the Masked Singer over here in the UK. I think they're about maybe 3 or 4 seasons in now, so it's worldwide, isn't it? As a show, they sell it to different markets. Lo and behold, there's a massive lobster, a guy in a lobster suit, and obviously they've got to guess who it is singing. And yeah, you're on the Masked Singer. You're on the Masked Singer in Canada, Jacques. Amazing.
That was amazing.
That was amazing. I loved it.
Amazing. I was so honored that they chose me to participate in this show. I don't know why they did it, but I was so happy they did, because music has always been part of my life. I even sang a lot of my wrestling songs with Jimmy Hart and stuff. I always liked music. It was part of me. And what an experience, Masked Singer, because, it's a lot more than what people could expect or think.
It's amazing. I was like, this is brilliant. And Old Town, you did Old Town Road as well, didn't you? That's what you sang. That was
Old
your
Town
track.
Road. I love the Jailhouse Rock and the Country Road, Take Me Home. But the funny thing about the Masked Singer was it was almost like a 3-day-a-week affair. But we had to keep it secret. Nobody could know about it because they didn't want us to be known. Of course, for those who don't know the show, it was my first year. I didn't even know the show before. So I had to take a limousine to go to a certain place. I was dressed up in black, like my face was covered, my hands were covered, my feet were covered. They didn't want to see the color of my skin. I couldn't talk. I wasn't allowed to talk when I go to the studios recording, going in with the driver and everything. It was so secretly made. And then one day I'd have to go dance with the choreographs, and the other day I had to go sing, and the other day I had to go record. And the funniest thing is that we were 20 contestants when we started, and I ended up all the way down to number 8. I stayed till the last 8. So I'm so proud of that experience. But you know what? It's a lot like there's a lot of similarity with wrestling, going on a stage like that. But the thing that was amazing about that, it was taking me out of my comfort zone. Like, it wasn't, I didn't have knee pads on. I didn't have, like, wrestling tights on. It was like going to perform, being a lobster, but then again, a lot of gestural, a lot of movement, a lot of charisma, tried to put it in there and have fun and react with the judges. And it was an amazing, amazing thing that happened to me in my life. And I'm so grateful for that.
Amazing. My youngest nephew's 6, so I need to show him your performance because he loves it. It's brilliant. It's a family show. That's the good thing about that program, especially with our version here. All the family can sit down and watch it, and that's the key. That's the key in this day and age.
You gotta show one of those videos of mine there. That I think I sent you one. Hopefully, if you have a chance to show, I think it's Jailhouse Rock I sent you. I'm not sure, but just to show the people the fun I had there doing that thing. If you want, we could take a look at a little part of it.
Absolutely. Here it is. The Lobster, Jacques Rougeau in costume, of course, and it's Jailhouse Rock, the Elvis classic. Here we go.
The water threw a body in the county jail. The prison van was there and they began to wail. The band was jumping and the joint began to swing. You should have heard the knocked out jailbird sing. Let's rock. Woo! Everybody, let's rock. Everybody in the hotel block was dancing to the jailhouse rock. Bobby Murphy played the tenor saxophone. The little Joe was blowing on the slide trombone. The drummer boy from Illinois went crash, boom, and bang. The whole rhythm section was the Purple Gang. Let's rock. Everybody, let's rock. Everybody in the hotel block was dancing to the jailhouse rock.
Oh, Jacques, amazing, amazing performance. So good. I bet it's just, like you say, performing was part of your wrestling life, of course. So yeah, just fantastic. How were you approached for it as well? I'd like to know that, how it came about.
Before I tell you how I was approached, I got to tell you how tight the costume is on your face. When I first started putting that costume on, it was so amazing because I saw it and I said, wow, it looks so good. But then after that, they put the head of the lobster on my face and it was like smothering me. You couldn't breathe in there, and it was like claustrophobic. And it was like, so he put it on, they put the mask on, and about 10 seconds later, I took it off. And I looked at the guy, I said, I don't think I'll be able to do this thing. He says, yeah, it's normal, Jacques. It's normal that you feel like that. It's everybody feels the same way when they put these masks on. But give it a second chance and a third chance. So then I put it back in for 30 seconds, and then they put a fan in, like, a little fan to get some air going in there. It was horrible because the view, you couldn't see but nothing, like only up on top, like 6 feet and higher. You couldn't see the floor. So when you're walking, if you have obstacles on the floor or in the decoration, you had to see it before the performance, because once you get out there, they have people guiding you all the way to the stage. It was a lot worse than it seemed. I looked comfortable in that suit, but I surely wasn't, to tell you the truth. And when they called me that day, it's so funny because they called me out of nowhere. And it's like they said, Jacques, do you like to sing? And I said, yes. And then when they told me they were the producers of TVA, the biggest TV station in Quebec, and I was going like, I took them seriously right off the bat. And they said, do you like to sing? And I said, yeah, I like to sing, but in the shower, like this. And then they said, no. But they said, do you like music? I said, yeah, I love music. I'm passionate about music. They said, well, we have a show here, The Masked Singer. And I went like, Masked Singer? Because I didn't know what the show was. I'd never followed it. So they said, oh, okay. So they were surprised I didn't know about it. And that was even better because for them, it was for me like a new experience just starting. And so I didn't know when they called me how it was going to be, because I had no idea. But what was happening there, Stu, I got to bring you back in context. It's like this spring that just went by, I had a lot of health issues. And I had like 3 months at the hospital. I had 4 operations too. I had like one after the other. I thought the untouchable Jacques Rougeau finally realized he was touchable, and and it hit me like a brick. I had like stones coming out of my body, like bladder stones, big like a golf ball, and then kidney stones, big like a carrot, and they were producing kidney stone. The stones were just starting to produce in my body. And if anybody doesn't know about this, for women who are pregnant and they have deliver the baby, well, it's as painful kidney stones for men. If you never had kidney stones, ask people that had it. It's the most painful thing for a man to have, and they were producing like golf balls in my body, and even blocking my what do you call it in English? There, my bladder, not my bladder, my kidneys. So I had my kidneys stopped functioning, because it was so big, the stone. So I had to have operation after operation, and next thing you know, they're starting to wonder how come I'm producing so many kidneys, so many stones. So they passed me 1,000 tests, and then they finally found out that it was my, we have the thyroids here, the thyroid glands, but in the back of the thyroid glands too, there's the parathyroids. So those are like four little pieces of rice you have behind the thyroids that control the calcium in your body. So let's say you're a person who was lacking of calcium in your body. Those little parathyroids are going to go into your bones, and they're going to get some calcium and feed your body. But if the opposite happens, like happened to me, where your parathyroids start producing calcium instead of lacking it, they're producing it too much, then it creates the stones. They're making stones and stones. So they had to operate me and take in my throat. I had an operation in my throat. They had to take 2 parathyroids out of 4 that was producing too much. But when they passed the test, they found a cancer in my throat. So they found a cancer about big like my little finger. So at the same time that they operated me in my parathyroids, they took out the lump of cancer I had in my throat. And after that operation, I went to get my because it was funny because they were calling me to do the Masked Singer, and I had, at the time they called me, I had 2 bags on my legs. One bag of wires coming out of my penis, and the other wire was coming out of my kidney. I had 2 bags, and that were I was not functional, and I was going to record the songs and everything with the bag on my leg and everything, but the worst part was on the last day. When finally they were taking these bags off of me and fixing my body, they had all the operations done. So that was March, May, and June. So then at the end, of June, the last day I go get this last wire pulled out of me on the side there of my kidney. I go to the hospital. I've been in the hospital for 3 months, and I'm thanking the Lord. I'm saying this tomorrow is the last day. I'm going to have this thing pulled out of me. I'm fine. And so they pulled it out. I got home the next day, and they gave me a bacteria at the hospital. So I caught a bacteria. So now there's a bacteria that goes and launches itself right at the opening of my heart. So it was like a little Christmas decoration, big like my little finger, but it was right in front of where my heart opens, like, where everything goes into, blood goes into my heart. So then they put me in a room for 3 weeks, and they shut me in a room, and I had a PICC line. I don't know if you know what a PICC line is. It's like a thing where they give antibiotics instead of shooting you with a needle every 3-4 hours. They put a wire, something in there. It's like a PICC line. So they just come in like at 9 o'clock at night, at midnight, at 3 in the morning, at 6 in the morning, at 9 and every 3 hours for 3 weeks I was in the hospital, and to get this bacteria. And after 1 week of being there, they finally realized that it was too dangerous, because if one of that little pieces of thing went into my heart, then it goes right to either the brain or it goes down to so I could have had and they were worried that I would have a ACV, how do you say that, a cardiac arrest, or having like a to be paralyzed or all that kind of stuff, because right in front of the heart, it was hanging in there. So 1 week after I'm in the hospital, they start telling me, now listen to this, Stu. You talk about a confrontation with your brain. They comes up to me, and the doctor sits down with me. She says, Mr. Rougeau, we're gonna have to cut you up and open heart surgery. We're gonna have to break up. They have to cut me up. They were telling me that they would have to cut me up to get that little thing out of there in case it goes into the heart. So now for 2 weeks, I'm sitting there in the hospital, and between 4 walls, and they're telling me that in the next day they're going to transfer me to Montreal Hospital, the cardiac cardiology institution, and they're going to operate me like a lobster. They're going to open me up, and they're going to cut me with a saw, and I was like, oh, I was dying. So all this was happening when the Masked Singer, I was doing the song and recording the song at the same time. So it was like I was leaving the hospital, going to do the recording, and coming back to the hospital. So in one way, it was awesome because it gave me hope. Just that it changed my mind. It was so fun doing it. But at the same time, it was the worst 4 months of my life that I spent this spring. So what a battle that was. But now I'm so happy that it's all done with. I'm healthy, and knock on wood. And I want to tell everybody at home that if you have your health, you're lucky. And just take care of yourself. Watch what you eat, your food. Don't take it. I was a guy who was always eating chocolate and chips and having fun and not worrying about nothing. And just take care of your health. You only have one. And if you think you're untouchable, like I thought I was untouchable, well, you're wrong. And everybody could happen to anybody at any time. So anyway, I wish I'm going to take the time, Stu, to wish happy Merry Christmas to everybody at the same time. And mostly, I don't know if it's like that everywhere, but we wish health, for the new year. And I hope that everybody's healthy, because without your health, life could be very, very painful. And yeah. What an experience.
You're my hero, because it was just, you had everything going on. It all happened when you list everything that you were going through and what, the procedures and stuff. That's crazy. All the things that were wrong, over those 3 or 4 months.
To be honest with you, Stu, let me tell you, I'm nobody's hero. I got to tell you the truth. Your body, the human body, is a special thing, because when you're confronted with situations in life where you think is unbearable and impossible to make it through, when you're going through it, your body adjusts, your mind adjusts. No matter how dark it gets, your body gets, like when I was there for 3 weeks between walls, every 3 hours they would come and pick me, to put me on antibiotics in the middle of the night to wake me up when I slept a little bit. I thought it was the end of the world, but your body always manages to adjust. Like to say, okay, it's a hard time now, but hang in there. And so the mind is very, very strong in the human being. So believe me, you'd be a hero too, Stu, if you went through the same thing. Your body adjusts to things like that.
On to more positive things as well. You were over in the UK for a convention about 3 months ago. I didn't know you were coming over. I would have gone to said convention.
Really?
I was like, Jacques here. Jacques actually here. I've had him on in May, and then lo and behold, you're on the convention circuit. And I know you do a lot in America, but obviously, you were in the UK, man. So how was that? Because you've been through so much this year.
That was awesome. That was really awesome. Reuniting with Brett and having a good time, and the people were so amazing. Declan, I think his name was, and he was such a nice person. The people who received me was a great time, and then again, just seeing the fans over the UK that came to see me, and that's a good reason why you got to follow me on Facebook, Stu, because I announce all those things. So if you go see my Facebook, you'll see I do a lot of things, appearances and stuff like that. But it was amazing. It was a great time, and me and Brett, we laughed a lot. We had a good time. It was a good thing too, because I met Davy Boy's son. What's his name there? Harry, what a great kid. And with all the altercation I had between me and Dynamite, Davy Boy and I had a chance to reconcile, and we had a chance to work for the Intercontinental title together after that and all that stuff. So when I met his son, his son was so nice to me, and that was really fun. And plus all the other talent that was there, it was just an amazing time to go back there and remember the good times in England, that I used to have a long time ago.
You met Tyson Fury as well, didn't you?
Yeah, we can't leave. Man.
He's one of the biggest sports stars in the world. He is, and just how was that? Yeah,
it's so nice. And when he saw me, it was so funny, because when he saw me from far away, I was coming to him, and all the way I was going to the convention, I kept telling him, the guy who was bringing me in the car, I said, hey, if you have a chance, would you introduce me to Tyson Fury? I'd like to meet him. I'm hearing all kinds of good things about him and stuff like that. I heard he's really hot, and stuff. I'd like to get a picture with him if that's possible. So the guy arranged it. So when I got to the building, he brought me towards Tyson Fury, and about 50 feet away from him, Tyson Fury looks at me and he says, I am the Mountie.
Oh, my days.
So I looked at him. I said, "You know me?" He says, "Yeah, for sure, I know you." He says, "So that was fun. That was a great encounter, you know."
How were the fans there? Obviously, what items were you signing? I'm sure there was items that came in.
Oh my God! There's a long line of fans. I got to tell you, I couldn't believe it when we got to the building, and it was like on the side of the building in the streets. There was like a quarter of a mile long of people lined up outside. You know, it was amazing. And then we never stopped the time we were there, from like the morning till night, till the afternoon that we were there, and taking pictures at one time, and then doing the Q&As. Like, we did some questions and answers, and I had a great person. I can't remember her name there. I'm so sorry, but she was interviewing. And then it was so funny because we got on the stage and all the fans were in front of us, and I started telling some stories that people didn't know about, you know, and you know me, and it was like I was there to entertain them and have fun, and so everybody had a blast, and it was so funny because when I finished the interview, the lady that was interviewing me, she says, the only thing she said to me, she says, "You're an easy guy to interview," like, you know, because I kept talking the whole time, and she had nothing to do. She was just holding the microphone, and because I talked too much.
I bet it's amazing, you know, all these years later, meeting the fans, you know, like, you know, just me interviewing, you know, this is the second time. You've been so kind to me. You know, I hated you as a kid. I told you on the first episode. I hated the Mountie. I hated him. Grew to love him. Grew to love the character as I got older. But yeah, it's just, well,
I had that told to me. I had that told to me a lot in the fans. A lot of the fans told me, "I used to hate you so much."
That was what Vince wanted. That is what Vince wanted you to do. So you did your job. You know, that's what the heel's got to do. The heel, that is rule number one, isn't it? But yeah, just
it was fun. You know, it was fun too, Stu, that I had a chance also to mea culpa, like, you know, like to tell the fans that, you know, I didn't get into any details. I didn't want to be negative, but I told them what the encounter I had with the Dynamite Kid, that the Bulldogs, for me, they were one of the greatest teams in the world. You know, when it came to WWF, and I had a chance to explain that to everybody, how they were my heroes and how they were amazing. And even when we worked with them, you know, in the Madison Square Gardens and a few places, like a 20-minute match Broadway, you know, what a great night that was for us, you know. And in Survivor Series, when we worked against them, and they were just great talent. And apart, unfortunately, the situation with their personal lives kind of ruined Dynamite's, but you know, they did so much for wrestling, the British Bulldogs, you know, when they were at their peak, and they were before all this altercation we had. You know, I had so much respect for them, and even I worshipped them. I told my brother Raymond, I said, "Wow, that's the team, man. That's the team. We'll never, you know, we're never gonna make it to the top. That's the team there that's gonna." So I had a chance to share that with the fans, and they appreciated that very much.
Amazing. What a time. But as I told you earlier in the year, the late 80s into 90s is my favorite. You know, the early 90s, there was just, especially as we've touched upon before, tag team wrestling and the tag team division in WWF, like at the time, that was the hottest time for tag team wrestling. There's no question. You know, the matches still hold up today.
You know, it's funny because I'm getting back into wrestling now worldwide, and it's so different than what it used to be with us, you know. And when I talk, it's funny because when I talk to the wrestling fans, the real wrestling fans, they always come up and they tell me the same thing. The best wrestling was in the 80s, you know, in the 80s, the late 80s and the early 90s. Everybody seems to, and we're talking about 35 years ago, you know, and 35 years ago. So I don't know what they've done. Like I said, I haven't watched wrestling in 30 years because of my falling out with Vince. So I don't know what they've done with wrestling, but I don't know why people are not, they think that way, because Lord knows they got talent. You know, there's talent. So I think the most things that I hear now is like, they forgot about the less is more. Like, you know, like go into the ring and do less, but do it more different. Like, you know, do more emotions, more storylines, more. Now it's more, I think, like the guy who gives the drop kick, he gets up after the guy who received the drop kick. You know, it's like that in our days, we would react more to what was happening in the ring. It was a little slower. There was more reaction between the crowd and the character. Now everything's happening so fast. I look at the matches when I was in Toronto for AEW, when my Wrestling Academy winners were there. I went to see them in Toronto, and it's so fast paced. Like, it's more like a cardio thing today than a storyline. I remember talking to Brett again when I was at the WrestleFest there, the Comic-Con, in England, and we were talking about the older days where we were doing promos and interviews where we were using our own imagination. That we'd go into the rooms where we're doing promos, and they would tell us the town that we were in and the wrestlers that we were wrestling against, and then it was all up to us to do a promo. And then he was saying that when I left the business in the later 90s and the 2000s, they were starting to give papers and sheets to the talent to say what they had to say. So it wasn't coming from their heart and mind anymore. So there was no more feeling. There was no more. So then they lost the characters, I think, that way.
It was just more organic, wasn't it? In that sense, and that's how the best people have got over the years, being themselves. And
how can you forget Coco Beware with his bird? How can you forget Actor Jim Duggan going whoa, or Jake the Snake with the snake, or everybody had a meaning, a character, and it was fantastic. I'm even thinking of Jake the Snake with his snake. It was so amazing when he'd come in the ring and he'd put the snake on top of the guy. But they were good. Ricky Steamboat, the dragon, and think King Kong Bundy, and I'm thinking of guys. There were so many. Kamala. There were so many guys that the big boss man. It was fun because he had a storyline behind him. From Cobb County, from Georgia, and Jimmy Hart. How can you forget Jimmy Hart? One of the greatest managers of all times. I've said that to you before, Stu, and I'm going to say it again. He's the most generous manager I've ever met in my life. The one who was always talking about his talent. Let me tell you something about my man, baby. Let me tell you this. When you had other managers that were saying, "Oh, I'm bright and I'm intelligent and I'm this," Jimmy Hart was always giving the attention to his man. And I see today, I go in Comic-Cons again in our days today, and I see the lines in front of Jimmy Hart, the people who just want to talk to him and see his megaphone. And he's always dressed up in his costumes when he goes to do the Comic-Cons. And same as me, when I go as the Mountie, I always got my Mountie suit on with my stick. And people, when they see us, they go back in time. It's nostalgic for them. Absolutely. And so I love Jimmy Hart. I will always love Jimmy Hart.
That was what it was. I've seen promos over the years where the manager's in front of the talent on the visual, whereas Jimmy Hart was always behind you, wasn't he? You guys were at the forefront of the promos, not the manager, which is how it should be. But I've seen it loads of times, old footage where the manager's trying to be more prevalent than the two guys he's managing, which it stood out to me in later life. Obviously, when I was a kid, I didn't really notice. But just in closing, Jacques, Wrestling Academy, Lutte Academy 2023, just the details where everyone can find it. And just keep up to date on your socials, isn't it, to find out what's happening?
Well, I think you said it all. Just follow Jacques Rougeau on Facebook, and you'll see a picture of me and my girlfriend, and then you'll come to wrestling-academy.ca and follow this competition that has become the biggest competition that Canada's ever put together. I'm thankful that I'm the one who put that together with my girlfriend, and it's amazing. I'm reliving my passion. So it's all starting on the 7th of May in Montreal, Club Soda, and then you'll be able to follow this on YouTube to see the shows. But if you want to see everything, it's wrestling-academy.ca. And follow that. And I got a big surprise that I'm not going to tell you right now, Stu. But as we get along, we received a big gift from QT Marshall that he's going to give us on the last final show in Montreal on the 17th of September. And so I can't tell you now what it is, but you won't regret this. I swear to God, I was so impressed and happy. So Wrestling Academy 2023. Good luck to all the contestants. Good luck to all the participants. And Stu, you've been a great asset to this competition and this adventure. You've been helping us, helping the Canadian talent and everybody. I know Jeremy Prophet likes you a lot because you gave him an opportunity to expose himself also and to be seen around the world. I want to take the time, Stu, to wish you Merry Christmas and have good holidays. Take care of your family, take care of yourself, but most importantly, take care of your health.
Jock, just before we go, where are you for Christmas? Are you still going to be in Florida?
Yes, unfortunately, I won't be seeing any snow this year.
I wish I was there. I wish I was there, man.
I will be in Florida, definitely, and I'm going to take advantage of it because the last 3 years we haven't traveled because of COVID.
Yeah.
So now it's like now we're back down to being snowbirds, which is amazing. I'm in Pixel, and I brought. It's funny because this year I brought someone with me here. I brought my friend here, Pixel.
Here we go. Yeah, I saw them. I've seen the bird on the pool videos.
Yeah, he's our best friend now. Yeah, say hello, Pixel. Bonjour.
Hello. Hey, that's brilliant. Oh, that's amazing. Yes.
Anyway, so take care of yourself. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Not a problem. And obviously, as we get closer to the tournament, the competition, I will have you back on because I know there'll be loads of information, more news coming out for Wrestling Academy, Lutte Academy 2023.
Well, thank you, Stu. And follow the quarterfinals and the semifinals and the finals. It's going to be a great adventure again this year.
My guest today, his second appearance in 2022 on Stu's Wrestling Podcast. He is now fighting fit. He's in the best of health again. After his hospital stuff this year, I'm just glad you're fit and healthy again, sir. It is Mr. Jacques Rougeau, a.k.a. the Mountie, a.k.a. one half of the fabulous Rougeau brothers, a.k.a. one half of the Quebecers, former WWE WCW talent. Mr. Jacques Rougeau, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much, sir.
Cheers.
It's always a pleasure to get Jacques Rougeau on the show. I have so much fun with him. And I did hate him. I did hate him as the Mountie as a kid, as I alluded to earlier on in the episode. But I think one of the things to take away is his look on life now. He's had some really big health issues this year, but he's come out the other side. 3 months in the hospital, in and out, and then obviously 3 weeks after he caught a bacteria. He was on an IV line, he was on a drip. So, yeah, I think it shows you've got to take care of yourself, as Jacques says, and change some things sometimes. And we all think we're indestructible, but I look up to Jacques, and he's come out the other side, and he's in Florida. He's on his Christmas break with his family, which is lovely. It's colder here in Wales than it is where he is. Normally in Canada, it'd be freezing, wouldn't it? Ballistic. But yeah, he likes the sun in the winter now. So yeah, that was great to hear. But yeah, Lutte Academy, Wrestling Academy 2023. As you can see, we put video clips in. You can hear it in audio form as well on Spotify. All the contestants trying to win a $10,000 prize and a spot at the Nightmare Factory where you'll get 3 months training at the Nightmare Factory. It was just amazing with QT Marshall. And it was lovely to hear about Jacques' convention bookings over this year, especially the one down in London in the UK. At the weekend of Clash at the Castle, WWE, he was here last September, met Tyson Fury. I couldn't believe it was the first time he met Harry Smith, the British Bulldog's son. I found that amazing because, Harry does do a lot of conventions, but that was cool. And also getting to see Bret Hart. I know how fond Bret and Jacques are of one another, coming from Canada. And just thank you so much to Jacques again. Merry Christmas to everybody as well. It's been a great 2022 for Stu's Wrestling Podcast, and we will carry on next year. I cannot wait for 2023. It will be the 4th year of the podcast. But yeah, just everyone look after one another during this Christmas period, and we will be back very soon for episode 139 of Stu's Wrestling Podcast. Take care, everyone. Merry Christmas.